Well, hey everybody, this is Tasha with Prep For It and my lovely co-host Mouse Toes, aka has the glow butt.
Yes, we should all has the glow butt.
Which all has the glow butt. We'll give it a minute or two for some people to come in. The notification thing has been a little cray cray here lately.
Nothing is working on notifications for me unless it's like stuff I'm not even sub to, like, oh, you should, recommended garbage. And you're like, listen, I have to catch so many things on the replay, but I watch the whole thing because
Hmm.
it's like, this is crazy, you know? And let me tell you, when I get mad, I have to eat chocolate. So I've already eaten a pecan swirl, which is like 27 million calories. It's like processed food. It's so good. I dipped 4 Oreos in milk and ate it. That's dinner, okay? Because lunch was spaghetti. And I'm just like, you know what? Some of us, maybe we have to eat our feelings. I don't know. So I just went for it. And then tomorrow at 3:10, I got to go to the dentist, the implant guy, because I'm looking at getting a sinus lift. Because, I'm scared if you don't get the jab, you may not even be able to go into your dentist. So years ago, I got some dental implants,
Hmm.
and just as a pre-preparedness thing. And oh yeah, it happens to Bob. Hey Josh, Bob
Hey
942, his
Josh.
channel, same thing. And then for
Hey
anybody who has not watched it, y'all need to go watch Southern Ohio Prepper'S video titled Special News. It's only 16 minutes long, and it's up there 6 days ago. It's the third video. You click on videos. Then it's the most epic thing. Hey, Hillbilly, see, no notification yet. We were talking about that Hillbilly. Hey, Sandra. And so, it
Mouse
just,
Toes, your
go ahead.
your sound is breaking up
Oh,
on my side. I don't know if they're hearing that. Are y'all hearing her sound break up or is it just me? Put one in if you're hearing sound break up, two if you're not. That's nuts. And Suburban Hillbilly said, no notification, just FYI. Hey Trish, we are good. We are good. Um,
yes.
is my volume okay? Because I know we've been having some issues with my volume. I used a different mic tonight.
You sound real good to me through my earbuds. And what I've done is kind of lock down my earbuds so maybe I'm not moving it around so much. Does
Okay.
that help at all, Tasha?
It's still a little bit choppy, but
Wow.
I think it's your connection because even your like picture keeps freezing up and then going again and freezing up and going again. Like I still hear you the
Oh,
whole time.
so it's my DSL raggedy connection because I clean
Yeah.
my cache and all before we come. So even if
Yeah.
I put in a headset, it would not help. I just saw I froze. Remember how that cracks
Yeah.
me up when Gil, Uncle Al, and Dave, when they're on SOP or whoever, frozen, frozen. Yep, see, I'm frozen. Yep, yep. Mouse is
Okay.
freezing up. Trish sees it.
Okay. Hey, Threads and Jars, Miss Morgan. I hope you're doing well today. Um, so we'll probably just have to deal with it because it's her connection. So that's okay.
I,
We'll
I'm
just
going to
deal.
try and refresh too on
Oh,
StreamYard, Tasha.
okay. Okay. You can. She'll refresh and be right back. So I hope everybody's doing well today. It's good to see everyone. Boy, I hate having myself so big on the screen here. All right. Let's see if has the glow button is better this round. All right. Try it again.
Okay, now we'll see if it's any
So
better.
so far, I'm not hearing any choppiness. I'm not seeing any freezing. So
Good.
maybe it was just a weird thing that happens sometimes.
And we've got storms, but it never affects me because even if power goes out, I got the solar battery backup. And, that's on one of our secure loads. But yeah, I hate when that happens. Well, I hate that
Yeah,
as much as people who eat on a stream. And I froze.
yeah, yeah, it's still acting up a little bit, but that's okay. It just kind of started, but that's all right. Hey, Farmer Sun Prepping, good to see you. It's better than it was. Like it was really bad there for a while, so it's better than it was.
Good.
All right. So today we are discussing putting the pedal to the metal on our preparedness goals because the way it's looking, places in other countries, and here they're talking about cooping us back up, the croup coop, and they're talking about or the coof coop as we call it over here. Um, so Funky Prepper did a live stream today talking about shortages. I didn't catch a lot the beginning of it, so I don't know where they're seeing shortages at. And I believe he's in the UK. So he did a little over an hour and a half live stream, hour and three quarters live stream today, talking about their shortages and things that he's looking at prepping and stuff like that. We're looking at people, even though they delayed the evictions for a lot of the people that are behind on their rent, they pushed it back some, but it's still, evictions are coming. If they do some more cooping people up and closing certain businesses because of them not being a necessity, there's going to be people that are going to have trouble again, not to mention problems with the supply chain again. So, yeah, there's a lot to be thinking about. And so we really need to be working on putting the pedals in the middle and kick it in gear, like really kick it up, like amp it up quite a bit. So that is where we are at. Any thoughts on that, Miss Mouse?
Yes, that's part of my glow buttedness. Okay, which is a nice way people of saying the red bleep. Okay, so that's what I got. All right. So South Carolina has it. It's called the South Carolina Stay, okay, which is related to the number 19 right relief program. They're not
Uh-huh.
taking anybody new in it. And this is the insane part. Am I breaking up at all, Tasha?
A little bit, but we're still understanding what you're saying. It's like
Okay.
a little robot sounding every now and again, but it's not bad.
Okay. And then, so they got the moratorium. Now it's going to a Saturday, October 3rd. But it's through the CDC, right? And it only is for federally backed mortgages. Like, so I guess that's Freddie Mae, Fannie Mac, or something. Like, I don't have a federally backed mortgage. Okay. So the tenant has to get the form, fill it out. It's been there, it's been going on since April of 2020. In the meantime, that landlord still has to fix air conditioners, broken water heaters, right? All those things.
Mm-hmm.
This is South Carolina, a magistrate enforces the Landlord Tenant Act. So you got to do all that stuff on Zoom. So there's $46 billion in quote rental assistance. Only 3 billion has been used. So most people don't know it's there. The people who do know it's there are almost complete players, right?
Yeah.
Because they can make the payment. You can get up to 3 months advanced rent if you fill out the paperwork right. And they can give it to the landlord, the tenant, or say the utility company. And the tenant decides that, which would explain why many people I know have suddenly got some newer cars and things like that. And it just really blew my mind that people would play that. And it's sad. And then talking about restrictions are going to get tougher. Now, thankfully, I'm in South Carolina, Tasha's in Oklahoma. But if I were in New York, New Jersey, Illinois, I'd be pooping my pants. Okay.
California,
Yes, because you're not going to give me a jab.
Oregon.
Yeah, what really gave me the glow up was the announcement that perhaps tomorrow they'll announce that all active duty military has to get the jab. Well, my grandson, who's 23, was in the Army. Is he going to have to get it to go to the VA, which is where he goes for health care and counseling and those things? And it's like, how do you make people do this? I just don't get it.
Yeah, I don't understand it either. I mean, the same people who are always saying it's my body, my choice, even though it's affecting another body inside that body,
Yes.
are the ones that are saying, "Oh, now you don't have a choice on getting this."
Hmm.
I don't agree with that at all. I don't agree with the first thing, but I certainly don't agree with the second thing either, because I mean, yeah, it I first of all, for somebody like me who was born with a genetic, um, I have a literal genetic mutation. I got one from my father, one from my mother, and that causes the different types of jabs, the stuff that's in them, to make it more toxic to me than most people. So as toxic as they are, they're even more toxic to, excuse me, somebody like me.
Yes.
So, which is something that can be inherited to my children and my grandchild. So, and about 30 to 40% of the people that are of the population have this,
Hmm.
either one variant or two, which I have. So I think it's really important that people understand um, that this isn't about keeping people safe. It's a control thing, because if it was keeping people safe, they would care about my health or somebody like me that carries that variant. They would care about my choice for my own body, but they don't. And that's the one thing, whenever you go into the military, you're basically their property now. They can force you. Um, so it makes it really, really hard. Um, I know my brother, back whenever there was the desert storm days,
Hmm.
um, my brother would have been sent over with the National Guard. He would have gotten all the jabs that they got. Um, he got lockjaw and got honorably discharged from the
Oh,
military at that time. And he had buddies in his same platoon that ended up with that. What is it? I can't think of what it's called,
wow.
where the desert syndrome or whatever,
Yes.
um and they, at the time, they thought it might have been from the jabs, but it could have been from exposure to stuff over there. So yeah,
Yep.
I
Trish.
feel for my military. I wouldn't want my loved one to be in there at this
No.
time.
I
I
like what
wouldn't.
Trish says. As soon as you sign the dotted line, your government property, it's called a GI Joe for a reason. And it
Yeah.
used to actually say you are a slave to
Hmm.
the United States, right? So of course they got rid of that wording, but that was there not long
But
ago.
that's what it still means. You're their
Yes.
property, just like slaves were, and that's
Hmm.
sad to think about. I mean, people volunteer for this, but they're
Yes.
doing it because a lot of people still have this patriotic notion, and that's awesome. I appreciate the men and women in our military.
Yes.
I am so thankful to them. But unfortunately, they're trying to, hey, SOP, they're trying to push out the ones who have independent thought, the ones who are more conservative. And people always say it'll never happen, but if you look at the Bible, it's clear it does happen. It eventually happens where they just follow orders. They're not thinking about anything else. Hey, SOP8. Hey, HRM. Good to see y'all.
Oh, good, good. And Southern Ohio Preppin is here, and that's what I was saying. His video, thankfully, is still up. If you
Good.
go to Southern Ohio Preppin's channel, it's called Special News. It's only 16 minutes long. He did it 6 days ago. It's the third video. When you go to his channel, click on videos, it's the third
Okay.
one. And this has also been, we subscribe to the Epic Times. And for
Uh-huh.
months, they've had this information in that hold in your hand newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
So the jab is not okay for us, just like Threads and Jars had an issue in the past with a flu shot, right? And so
Right.
you have to get creative. My concern is I hated when the Blasio, the big bird,
The
did his
B.
thing talking about, yeah, everything's so great to walk in New York, high rises and inhaling all the stuff in the roads, you know what I mean, riding in cabs and all this entertainment. But if you don't get the jab, then you won't be able to enjoy those things. I ain't no sheep, okay? So it's my body and it's my choice. And the vilifying of people, we don't have a, let's use the word infection problem. We have an unjabbed people problem. That's outrageous.
Yeah.
Not a
Yeah.
threat to anybody, but I'll tell you this, and I'm going to show y'all these. Anybody still using these, because we're going to have to put them back on again, this thing's a joke. And
Oh
the
yeah.
reality is, you see people put this on, go in the store, shove it in their pocket when they're leaving.
I
Has
know.
anybody washed that? This is the only thing that works, right? The N95s.
They touch
And
the cart. Yeah.
yes,
They touch the cart. They touch the doors. They touch the products on the shelf. Then they touch their mask.
yes. And once you touch it, it's done. Okay, so I had several of these, and thankfully I live in South Carolina with heavy sun, and not the one with the vent on it. If you
Right.
wear it and touch the front of it, you're done with that one. Okay, because the whole theory is you would shove it deeper in there. So these are a joke. I probably had one that I made out of cloth that's been in the console of my car. We got one in Vern's truck. It
Yep.
ain't never been washed. At first, I took it serious and went, these don't even work. This is insane.
Yeah.
So going back to that, and that's our thing. And I have lots of friends going, well, what do you think I should get at the store? If I get a 12 pack of jars, can you show me how to can? Ain't nobody coming in my house to learn how to can. Keep your COVID cootie ridden butt out there. Okay. So if you do not want to can food in jars, you don't have to, but you can buy stuff at the store and start stocking up. What
Yep.
if they say
Exactly.
that you can't go in the grocery unless you show your papers, please? Okay. We do not live in an area, a Walmart is an hour and 20 minutes from me that would have curbside pickup, right? I'm not driving that far to go to the grocery store. I'm just not. You see Tasha growing her own vegetables. Let's say now to get yourself prepared, she chops up her bell peppers, puts them in a Ziploc bag, a freezer bag into her freezer. You can go to the farmer's market now and do that. Okay. But you
Yeah.
have to start
And
doing
not
something.
yeah, and not just that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. But I've had vegetables also given to me even though I'm growing my own. I've had a half a grocery bag that's paper, almost half of green beans, so I canned those up. I was just given a half of a paper bag full of okra. I'm gonna do some where I pre-freeze it. I'm gonna pre-bread it and freeze it and have it for fried okra, and I'm gonna pickle some. So, like sometimes, especially later in the summer, people are over preserving a lot of their stuff. They're like done with it and they're just like, take it off my hands, please. Like they're begging people. I know Miss
Yes.
Trish Wiley, she's put up so many pickles, she's like about done with it. She's like begging people to take pickles off of her hands. And that girl is rocking it every day. She is canning green beans. She made cowboy candy today, like all kinds of stuff. Like she's rocking it. And that's what it's gonna take. Okra and eggplant, pure evil SOP. I'm growing both. And eggplant, that is a little tricky. That texture is a little off. It almost feels like foam or something, and then it just sucks up all of the grease or whatever you're cooking it in. I'm gonna experiment with it though, and I'm gonna give you all my best ways to use it since I've got a lot growing and haven't used it a lot. We're gonna get. I know. I wish I had some of those cucumbers too, but
But this is why you have to embrace Southernism, which like eggplant's kind of freaky. So we fry it, okay? And then we put it in
ex-
eggplant parmesan. Everything's better with like a
yes,
marinara sauce and some
Trish.
freaky cheese.
That's what I was gonna say. Trish gave me the idea of dicing it like really fine and cooking it with some other vegetables and putting it in a sauce, as you say, in a sauce. So
Sauce.
so yeah, but like utilize what you have access to, people, farmers markets, neighbors that are growing stuff, even if you can't grow stuff at your home. um oh boy, Trish's daughter does have the coof for
Oh,
sure. Yeah,
well, Bob 942 is growing snot. He's growing mayonnaise. Lunatic. Uh,
Nice. I'd like to see some tips on how to grow your own mayonnaise. Of course,
yeah,
like, well, if you have chickens, you can make your own from it, I guess, but
yeah,
yeah.
just eggs and Earl. Yep. And this is something interesting. I have a friend here is from Chicago and's lived here a year. And her daughter was coming to go back to, the fighting chicken school. Everybody can't go to Clemson. I know it's sad, but anyway, it's the best people can do. So anyway, she was coming back, and it turns out she got a text when she landed in Tennessee that her friend she had been with tested positive. So she, took a little Uber to a grocery store, a drugstore, and she was positive. You realize she had to get back on a plane, right? They'd go on to Atlanta and then come back to here. And it's so crazy. And the girl is like 20 years old, no symptoms, no fever. And then it turns out she just might have mono and it's not that. But in the meantime, her mom, who picked her up, couldn't go to work, for those 2 weeks.
Oh,
We know.
yeah, yeah. Because then the
Mhm.
whole house is put in the stay-at-home mode.
Yeah, the coop. And it's dumb. Lindsey Graham, our senator, who, good God, is the most irritating man on the planet. Okay. So irritating. He's a wonderfully good person, but good Lord, that man is a swamp freaking rat. Okay. So he's so thankful he got 2 jabs because he has the symptoms of the virus, right? But he knows for a fact his symptoms would have been way worse had he not gotten it. Really? There's not one single scientific evidence that says that, bro.
No,
The
nothing.
lies just
Y
flow, Tasha. They just
Yes,
flow.
yes. I mean, like, how do you know? I mean, there's nothing that proves that by getting that, it lessens it, especially if it morphs, like, kinda like the yearly flu does every year. It
Mhm.
changes enough to where, oh my gosh. Don't get me started on that. That just drives me insane.
Yes. We make up things now, and it's like, oh my goodness, this is so dumb. Not one hospital's been overwhelmed, but you cannot believe anything. But the things that come out are so insane. But we've talked about this before. If it were not for the Bible, okay, this would be absolutely frightening. Now it just gives me the glow bug, right? Which is a
Right.
nice way of saying your butt is red. Instead, people who have not been, even after going through 2020, where they didn't have anything they needed, they couldn't make bread, they didn't really have any kitchen skills, they were frustrated being with their kids, have not made a lot of changes. Go to the freaking store and start stocking up on some canned goods. You ain't got a garden, you ain't got a can, but flip and do something,
Yeah.
okay? And
Yeah.
take this serious.
Yeah. We've been touching on this for several weeks now, where, like, instead of sitting on your butt and watching YouTube videos for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks on end over the same thing over and over again, get the gall up to get out there and get it done, people. Okay, you've learned enough. You need to get out and do it. Like, seriously, light a fire up under your butt and get her done, right?
She almost went there, people.
Almost. Um, yeah, but many states are discussing cooping folks up again, mandating the face diapers, even not allowing people to enter businesses without showing proof that they've had the jabs, right? Plus, if
Mhm.
they do order restrictions again, what's going to happen? Like you and
Yes,
I were talking about privately, there people are going to rebel against that. There could be a lot of craziness going on in the streets again, disruption of the supply chains. So yeah, it's time to really start stepping it up and stacking it up.
yeah,
So one of the things you got to do is have a prepping goals in mind, right? You've got to have prepping goals in mind. Okay. If you have goals, awesome. You're a step ahead of a lot of people. But if you don't, you're going to have to assess what you do have and what you need and assess how long you would like to have that covered for. Like 2 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, a year, 2 years, whatever. Set yourself baby goals so it doesn't feel overwhelming. You need to get started now. Okay. This is not us trying to fearmonger people. Look, Mouse and I both believe in the Lord, and we believe that God's got this and He's got us. But He does give us, instruction to be busy like the ant, to be putting away, right? Okay. So that's what we need to be doing. Um, so assess your preps, remembering the top needs first: food, water, shelter, or water, food, shelter, all of those things, depending on the weather in your area. If your weather's real fluctuating or really cold or really extremely hot, then shelter needs to be your first priority. Assess your home, look around, make sure that you've got leaks taken care of if you have a leaky roof, or have stuff on hand to secure up, button up your shelter for seasonal risks, and also for risks for potential people trying to come in your area if things get really bad, especially if you live in a bigger city, a highly populated area where that risk is more likely to happen.
Mhm.
So that shelter, and then water, you need to know that you need at least a gallon of water per person per day just for drinking. That is not including any hygiene. That's not including washing clothes. That's not including bathing. That's not including washing hands or washing dishes or bedding or anything like that. So you need to make sure you have enough water on hand for however long you're planning to prep. You need to make sure you have enough food. Go by the person's age. I can't remember what website that is, but you can actually go and assess your preps, see how much food each adult needs, whether they're female or male, by their age, and then same for children. And you can put all of that in, and it'll tell you how much food you need to have on hand for a year, and it will give you suggestions. Now if you're on a certain restricted diets, then what you're going to have to do is, the parts that it's suggesting on different items, if you can't have that, then you need to find an alternative for that, right? Hey,
Mhm.
Tiger 454. So you need to start getting these goals in order now. Like now. It's time to quit sitting and just sitting on the sidelines and watching and listening to everybody talk about it. That doesn't mean live in fear. Okay? We're not living in fear. That's why we're being proactive. That's why we're being proactive, because you can take those steps now and not have to be fearful of what's coming because you're going to be prepared, right? We can't prepare for every single thing that comes up, but we can, um, prepare the best we can based on the insight that we get from one another. Okay. Um, so after you get those main things, exactly, CR, being proactive makes you less reactive.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. You know, and learn from the past, from last year. um you know look at things that there were shortages on, and make sure you're proactive on those things, but also learn from what we have dealt with, um in our specific areas. Some areas had shortages on certain things that others didn't, but you never know. Welcome, Tiara. Tiara says, I live in Texas. The heat is our biggest threat. I bought a window unit and a generator so we could have a cool room.
Smart.
I can live without lights, but women of a certain age cannot handle immense heat. Oh, girl, I tell you.
Praise.
I've
Preach.
Yeah, I have some health issues anyway, and so the heat really does affect me quite a bit.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that for anybody to feel sorry for me. I'm just saying,
No.
yeah, heat is a huge factor for me anyways, not to mention hormonal issues because
Yeah.
I'm turning 50 in December. So, yeah. And I had to have sorry fellas, but a hysterectomy a few years back. So I was forced into menopause much earlier than most. I do have medication for it, but still. Oh, good, Josh. Got a 5-gallon bucket of tomatoes and peppers and cantaloupe and cabbage. Nice, Josh. Josh's garden. If y'all haven't checked out Gardener Josh's channel, you need to check it out. I'm telling you,
Yes.
the man knows how to garden.
Yes.
And
On
that's
the,
another Oh, go ahead.
on the lines of being hot, when we built this house and then the electrician comes, they come and they meet with your solar people and you walk around your house or you look at it on your blueprint. We had basically everything was roughed in. And I was like, okay, I need this plug on the island on the secure load, which is on your batteries. I need both on my end table in the bedroom going and two on the far wall. And he was like, why? That'd be four. I said, well, we have clocks. Sometimes I sleep with a CPAP, but I'm going to have two oscillating fans, right?
Right.
Because in a power outage, you ain't running your air conditioner or your dryer, people, on your
Yeah.
batteries. Are you
Yeah.
stupid?
Yeah.
So
No.
then we go to the guest room, the
Duh.
quote office, and I'm like, nothing in the guest room, right? Because first, if I have guests, it's good. I guess I hope you brought a headlamp, okay? Because I got nothing for you. But in our office or craft room, our DSL is on the secure load. So he was like, I never thought of this. And I said, in the master, the living room will have the ceiling fans will be on it, right? So they designed the system around what you want. And then I don't need my electronic start on a propane stove. I didn't need
Right.
my dishwasher on it. I don't need my washer dryer, but I need both refrigerator freezers and my chest freezer. So they designed it that way. And I saw him the other day and he said, I've saved a couple of, let's say, mature women and said, I really think you ought to think about being able to plug some box fans facing you on the bed, because we're in a hurricane zone. And so then they use the same installer. He doesn't work for my solar installer. But anyway, he said, so they texted him and said, oh, you're helping all the old hot ladies, I see. Okay, yeah, mouse toad shooting. And it was just like, I want to sit in my recliner, right? The plug down on the floor, the safety plug, it's one made for the floor. And the other oscillating fan points right at me under a ceiling fan. I made a whole old lady hot plan when I have to have the windows up and just the screens open.
There
Okay.
you go.
And when power went out after Dorian, or pick up Matthew, Irma, Dorian, I think was the big one for like 9 days. Vern was so thankful. He said, I owe you so much because I'd have died without that fan on my side. He was like, oh, really get that hot. I'm like, that plug is going on a secure load, people. Okay. Because brother, now he's in menopause because he's apologized for turning off ceiling fans. I'd be in here with the ceiling fan on medium or high. I'd go down the hall. I'd come back. I'd get hot. It was on low because he was cold. Like, you can't put on socks on them big ass feet, bro. Come on. And something I love that Sandra said in the side was, they're not done with this. We've got to get as ready as we can for whatever. And
Yep.
the worst case, nothing happens. Look at these preps. Okay, whether you can or you buy it as a savings account. We know they're going to become more and more expensive. In
Yep.
fact, what
Amen.
Tasha was saying, or I went on a rant because the lady got me talking about hot flashing, okay, because that's why we love our side chatters, okay? Yes,
Yeah.
me, Theresa Jar Morgan knows my hot fan is gold. It is. Um, so now I forgot what the hell I was going to say because I'm elderly and clearly have dementia. Oh, my biggest
You're
fear is,
100 years old, right?
yeah, yeah, the trolls could be 100. Yeah, I have wrinkles and stuff. And I wear glasses in case y'all don't know. Glasses, four eyes. Okay, so like we're in third grade.
You
So,
froze on doing this.
oh, you say, yeah, and remember my bobblehead for a while? It was like we could have put that to a gif. Oh, my fear now is it'll be too dangerous to go to the grocery. Before we could, because they're all essential workers, right? Don't make me pick my nose and make that freeze as a thing, Tasha. Okay, then you'll really giggle. Because remember how you do this from the side and you can make people think you're picking your nose when you're in your car, gross out a good looking guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're like, ew. It's like, why are you staring at me? Anywho, back to what I forgot to say, what I was going to say twice. Okay, is that even during the 2020 hardness, we could go to the grocery and mask up and people wear gloves and be afraid and look for the little circles on the ground. What if you can't get in the damn store? Because if people are going to get cooped up again and businesses ain't going to get jiggy with it, this is stupid. It didn't work the first time. It won't work this time. And
Yeah.
thankfully, our area, we don't have any shortages. Now, I can't find a pork butt, but I got pork loin, okay, and I canned it up. And guess what it is? It's still going to make a pulled pork sandwich. I mean, it's
Yeah.
still from the pig. So we haven't had shortages. But like you were talking earlier, the UK really is. And that is frightening, right? Because they got little refrigerators, they got little mouths, they have trouble at the dentist and their fridges are small. I live there. You should try to
Yeah.
drive an oven in England. You got it's we just couldn't do it.
Oh
It
my
was
goodness.
rocket science, and they're really suffering. I've got two French door refrigerators, freezers, and a chest freezer. We put food up, people. We don't go to the store every 2 days. It's just not what we do.
No,
You
and
know.
I've not done that anyway. I live an hour away from the nearest decent sized grocery store where there's enough options that I can choose, right? So
Yes.
my husband gets paid once a month. Once a month, okay? So guess what? Once a month I go to town. Hey Stony Acre, how are you, Alicia? So once a month, I go to town and I stock up, and then I'm good until the next month. And I mean, I still have extra stuff too, but you know what I mean. And Suburban Hillbilly, yeah, that is freaking hilarious, girl. That is so right. There, it's nuclear Armageddon is what it
Yes.
is instead of hot flashes. That's what it feels like.
Yes. And see, so
Uh,
you're able to manage, we just call it an extended pantry. And I have friends who go, I know how to can because they have a pressure canner and like it's in the box, and they've got all the books and they can tell me exactly how to get hamburger into a pint jar. And they know you can't put it in a quart jar. You can only do it in a pint jar. You know how much hamburger they've canned? Not a damn pint of it. You can
yeah,
be an expert. Okay. So maybe you're going to have to go buy a big Generac or something and start freezing your hamburger. But it's so dumb. You can have all this knowledge, right? You can know how to use the iron sights on a projectile iron thing. But if you ain't never done it and dealt with the kickback and steady in your hand, you don't really know nothing. But in the name of God, if you cannot can or garden, you've got a farmer's market. You don't have to buy a dehydrator. Tasha is freezing her abundance of, because she knows she's going to use those bell peppers in
hmm,
cooking. She's got a plan for her jalapenos. And if she ends up getting burnt out at the end of the season and her freezer's full, a vegetable freezer and then a meat freezer, she's going to give it away to other people. But when we can dehydrate them or freeze them or can them, we can use them when we're darn good and ready. And in the name of God, everybody can buy albacore tuna, right?
yep, that's
I mean, good
right.
God, you know? So I
Yeah.
just don't get it why nobody's still not doing it. They have binders and binders of information. Information don't mean nothing until
If
you
you're
try it.
You've got to put it in action. And then what works for one person doesn't necessarily mean it's going to work for you, because if you live in a different area, certain things are going to grow better in your area. You know, depending on humidity, certain things you might be fighting a losing battle when it comes to dehydrating something if you're trying to do it in a really extremely high humid area, it depending on how you're storing it. So, you've got to take all of that stuff into factor. Like, I mean, basically, my garden this year, what didn't hardly have anything in it. I've got okra, I've got bell peppers, I've got jalapenos, I've got cowhorn peppers, tomatoes, a few different varieties. And then I did some zucchini and some squash and did some well, that's awesome, Morgan. And then,
Yes.
I tried my hand at some pumpkins and cantaloupe and watermelon. Okay. Some of that's been successful, some of that hasn't. But I had to start somewhere and try. And now I know what's successful for my area and what isn't. Obviously, my bell peppers are very successful. I'm getting
Beautiful.
I'm getting anywhere from 4 to 19 bell peppers a day, depending on
Oh,
the day. So they're loaded down again. And then my jalapenos are doing great. The cowhorn peppers are doing great. My strawberries are starting to really take off again and starting to get larger strawberries on them. So um, all of those things, it's good. You have to actually put it into action and try it for yourself, because if you don't, you're not going to know what works for you. And you may buy all the stuff for dehydrating and then dehydrate a bunch of stuff. And then when you go to break into it, you don't like that particular item
yes,
dehydrated. It just tastes nasty and it was a waste of food.
yes,
So you've got to work on putting what you've learned into action now. You really do. You have to start putting it into action. And I saw where, we said to get off our butts and do stuff. Well, Trish is talented and she can sit on her butt and do a ton of stuff. So that's a little different because she's been canning her little heart out. But she's
yes,
still doing something. She's not just sitting there watching somebody else do it. Okay, she's doing something. There's nothing wrong with doing your due diligence, doing your research, and really making sure you're doing it properly. But then you've got to take that next step and do it. Like Alicia, my girl, I'm so proud of her, Stony Acre Homestead. She was nervous about canning the first time. But then after she did it, that girl's a canning fool too. Like she's constantly canning stuff up. And I'm so super proud of her for taking those steps to do that. Um,
yes.
and
And
yeah,
this was
Suburban Hillbilly did the same thing. She chopped her bell peppers. I'm gonna do um put some peppers in my pickled stuff as well. So I've got lots of uses for the stuff I'm gardening. Go ahead, Miss Mouse. Sorry.
one of the things I love when Alicia was canning. Her husband got her all set up because evidently he knows how to game and stream and stuff. And at
Mhm.
some point when she was up there and she's canning her heart out, right? And I've got lag and you're canning yours and Sandra's there. He types in the side chat and I didn't know it was him. And it said, "Who is that most beautiful woman in my kitchen?" And I was like, "What?" And Alicia goes, "Oh, that's my husband."
Oh, it
YouTube
was
channel.
so
And
sweet.
was that not precious? Who's that
It
most
was.
beautiful woman in my kitchen? I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
my God, he's a keeper." Yes, that was precious. Yeah. And just what Tasha's saying, it's not that you can't live to chat, but you have to put into practice. And as others have said, there are things I don't like dehydrated. It's why I love the Purposeful Pantry channel for dehydrated, how to recondition it, how to properly rehydrate it.
Mhm.
Don't dehydrate things you didn't enjoy. They ain't going to get better next year,
You're
right?
right.
And there's no shame in saying, like, I cannot stand canned celery or dehydrated celery or freeze dry. It's like dental floss. I then literally have to get dental floss to get it out from between my teeth. I'm like, it's like shoving little threads between my teeth. It's insane. So I freeze mine, okay, in half cup packets. So when I want to make chicken salad, I pull out 4 of them, defrost it. It's like brand new celery. I can't grow celery. And remember when everybody was getting their big, used to get popcorn from the Boy Scouts in those big cans, right? And so they were buying their freedom and victory seeds. If you ain't never grown it or you had to condition your soil, your husband was out there with you because you have clay soil, you have no idea what will grow. And I won some from a prepper in Arizona years ago, and I got zucchini and I got squash, and our summer was so hot, I planted them. They're 6 years old, and they're coming up because it was so damn hot here for 5 weeks with not a drop of rain. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what kind of squash or zucchini it's going to be, but it's growing. It ain't
Hey,
got no squash bugs, nothing. When my other ones, I have to fight them.
yeah. Well, it's
Yes,
going to be a resilient one probably because of that, because it's fought your weather and it's fought through everything, the heat and all of that, and it's coming in. So, yeah, I bet it'll be a really good one. I bet it will be. And that's what I would save my seeds from for sure.
yes. Remember trying to figure out who told you dehydrated okra was good, and I've never done it? Suburban
Suburban
Hillbilly.
hillbilly.
Yes,
Yeah.
you knew it. You said it was her or somebody else.
Yeah, I said it was either her or Emma, and I was pretty sure it was Suburban Hillbilly. And I am gonna do that video probably tomorrow, dehydrating
Yes.
okra. So since I'm gonna be pickling and stuff anyways, I'm gonna have to be. I might as well chop some and some of the ones that are a little too large for my pickling, and do some dehydrated okra and do it that way.
See, look at SOP Dave. While I still have my freedom, I'm eating some banana split ice cream. Yeah,
I
because you
know.
can get in the damn store to buy it without a jab. You're not
Yeah.
stupid. And then Alicia asked, does the chicken have a smell after opening? Ugly chicken? Hell yeah, it all smells like dog food when you open it. It don't matter if it's this here ground beef. It don't matter if it's this pork loin. It stinks. But once you get it hot, you know what I mean? Once I mix my pork loin up in a little bowl, add some barbecue sauce for my, is that what that is? Yeah, it's pork loin. I thought, oh, hell, it's chicken. That's why you're right on the top of it. You don't know what the
Yeah.
hell it is. It all looks like zombie eggs, right?
Right.
Once you eat it, that smell goes away. Particularly ground beef canned is icky. It smells just like wet. Do you remember, what was it, wagon train in the can?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like this. Yeah, and then you had to mix like a couple tablespoons to make gravy for your dog. When you
Yeah.
open that, it's like, oh, it smelled like 8 people farted in there at one time who ate nothing but eggs. It's horrific. So yeah, Alicia, it stinks. But once you get it hot, that
Right.
process, it's a smell produced by the processing of it all. But yeah, it's good. Well,
Yeah.
okay, Alicia, you said not pleasant, but you ate it anyway. Didn't make me sick. Did you heat it up, woman, or did you just gnaw it out the jar like a Kentucky person? My friend in Kentucky will be talking to me
This
about
looks
it.
nasty. I think I'll eat it.
And she eats this out the jar. I'm like, bro, that is so gross. And I hate to see people eat on live stream. I just hate it. I hate it. Yeah, gravy train. That was it. Thank you, Morgan.
Yeah, and
You know,
tiara is exactly right. Tiara, that any can mean, whether it's from the store or not, smells bleh and looks blah. Doesn't look very appetizing either. But
yeah.
depends what you season it with and what you do
Now,
with it.
Alicia, was it bone-in chicken or just chopped up chicken chunks like we raw pack chicken? Because it should not taste terrible. It should taste very good. But if you're eating it right out the jar, it's going to have that funk.
Did
But
it
once you,
taste okay once you did that, Alicia? Because
yeah,
she says it was chicken breast. She shredded it and made chicken quesadillas. It should
okay.
be
So did she not get it hot? I don't think she got it hot. Not pleasant, but I ate it anyway. It should not. It should have been pleasant. Did you? Did you
maybe
have
it's.
some rotten cheese? Go ahead, Tasha.
Did your husband fart on it before you took
Yeah.
a bite? Being all romantical and stuff.
Yeah. Shredded it, made chicken. So you got it hot, Alicia. Did you warm it up? Because I can tell you, if you ever go to somebody's house and they scrape off the green of cheese, it don't taste that good. You
Yeah,
know what I
and
mean?
Sandra is completely right. Sandra Moody, as
Yes.
Wide Family Farm says, you've got yes, yes, he farted. Oh, okay, that makes sense now.
See,
Hey,
that
Will,
gives it right.
Sandra Moody said we need to prep plenty of spices, and that's true because canned meat does have a different flavor than like your fresh cooked meat. So, the flavor is a little bit different. So, yeah, you're gonna have to season it well. Like I like I like doing like the canned chicken or pork or whatever. Um and then season it up real good with pre-made taco seasoning that I make or that I get from the store and stuff like that. You got to zhuzh it up.
Yes, but I don't do it in the jar. Like I don't season my ground beef. If you put taco seasoning in this, it will taste hella. What happened? I said men are always farting. Okay, I said men come from farts. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, so if I season this, what happens in the processing? What's the word? Exaggerates it. It just amplifies it in a way that's gross. And if I do that, I can only use that for tacos. What if I want to make it into ground beef stroganoff? Listen, don't lock me in a jar with spices, but I'm with Sandra, always having spices on hand. So, Alicia, did you put any spices in it? No spices, just raw packed it. It should have tasted great. Did you once next time you open a jar, get it hot and taste it, because it could have been what you made for your quesadilla part. Tasha, you're frozen. Oh yeah, Tasha has to go out and come back. Okay, so Morgan Threads and Jars does season of the jar, but doesn't do too much. Oh my God, y'all need to be afraid you're in here with me. Yeah, and my song tonight was Hooked on a Feeling. Oh my God, I love that song. So I like to watch those highway drive-alongs, and they're fun. Okay, Tasha's back. I did not
I'm
boot
back.
you, Tasha.
I thought it. I know you did. Somehow you did. um. Yeah. There's no telling. It just may be one of those things, Alicia, where you just have to. You may. I mean, if your seal was good and you tested, I test the stuff that I can immediately, like, after 24 hours, and make sure the seal is good, and then I check them again a week or so later, 2 weeks later, because one of my cans of green beans from when we canned live, one of those lids came up then. So you got to check them regularly. But if it was sealed, I'm sure it's fine, as long
Mhm,
as you followed all the protocols for it.
mhm. Now, I hate bone-in chicken. That stuff is gross. I call it zombie chicken. And I canned a bunch of it because I usually use chicken legs for crabbing, but it was like winter. And so I canned a bunch of them, in quart jars. You turn one with the little skinny side down, the next one, absolutely gross. I didn't care for that. So unlike regular canned chicken, home canned chicken, pressure canned, it was not right.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I want anything on my shelf to be. I mean, I can't turn this into anything but corned beef, right? I mean, I'm just kind of stuck with that. These freaking black beans are black beans that got a whole bunch of crap in them that shouldn't be in there, but it is what it
Right.
is. I don't like to can a whole bunch of beans in my holy vessels.
Yeah.
So,
And Suburban Hillbilly has a great point. Look, like if there's certain spices you don't use a lot, like she dehydrated oregano, but you can also just take the store stuff, okay, and then just put it in smaller packages and re-vacuum seal it. That way, if you're not using it all at once, you're still going to have it for a longer period of time. It's going to be fresher than like a big thing that you open up and you only use a few times during the year, and then all of those good oils and stuff tend to evaporate out of it. All of the good, I mean,
yeah.
even like medicinal properties or properties that are healthy, for your body, and stuff like that, tend to degrade over time. So it's better to repackage it if you get like really large things of it anyways. So
Hmm.
that's a great idea on dehydrating that oregano. And yeah, if you do it in smaller batches or whatever size batches you think you'll go through, then it'll last longer for you.
Oh, threads and jars for smoking buddy, the Smokus interruptus. Dagny just had cataract and laser eye surgery, so now she can read the labels and not buy crap. Sometimes there's only crap in there. You read them
Yeah,
and you go, I need it. It's all I got. But that is excellent. I'm glad she did well, Mike.
I would
Vern had,
like. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
it's all right. It's my lag. It's not you. We don't talk over each other. I got a lag. Go ahead, Tasha.
Oh, I was just going to say that's something I would like to do if it was possible. It would save me money in the future. Plus, it would, I wouldn't have to worry about in a real SHTF scenario or Teotihuacan scenario,
Mhm.
glasses getting broken or something like that. But
Yes.
that doesn't always last forever, especially if you end up with other eye issues later on. But
Yep. Vern's went bad and he had it done by like the creator of it. But I swear I think that was in like early 2000. And then so he just had to get glasses. It's sort of like implants. They can go bad on you, right? But not going to be as bad as, having to change the shape of dentures or something.
right,
So that glasses are so nice now. Now I like to have the little feet. I don't
hmm,
like because my glasses are heavy. He was able to get the ones that just lay on his nose, and then his can go from dark to light, whatever that transitions or something. But
right.
God, glasses are so expensive.
They
Jeez,
really are. They really are. Our life insurance is through American Income Life. If anybody is interested in speaking to our representative, um, eh, he can probably find somebody in your area. But I mean, it is a little bit expensive per month, but because my husband's the only one that brings in an income for our family, a regular income, he wants to make sure that I'm taken care of if something happens to him, to give me some time to get back on my feet and to figure out what I'm going to do. So anyway, uh, they have a program that's AIL plus, and you can get 20 to 40% off of your, I think it's your glasses on,
Oh,
and you can include that with your insurance. So I want to do some checking on that, but trying to find somebody in our area because I live out in the middle of nowhere is another
right.
situation. But it is covered with my dental, so I can use that in conjunction with my insurance, and that was free to us because he does work for volunteer firefighting. So that's awesome. So that's going to help some with my next week. I'm having some major dental stuff done on Thursday. So we'll have our Wednesday live stream provided the Lord willing and nothing else comes up. But then I may be off a week after that. So healing up.
Yes. So your next Thursday, you go to the dentist?
Yes. Yes.
I go tomorrow, 3:10. I'm not excited. Fern has to drive me. I'm a dental phone people. Hate it. First, I hate
My
spending the money, but
My husband is like that too. Matter of fact, if he's having any kind of work done, he has to take something for anxiety, and he don't even remember the whole day when it
oh,
happens, and
that's
it
so
just, yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yep, same thing, hillbilly. Whenever I've had insurance, it was cheaper to go to like Lens Crafters, right? Than the provider. It's just crazy.
I'm 3 hours away from the nearest anything like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. It's gonna
So,
be fun because we'll end up in the 5 o'clock Charleston, South Carolina traffic. Because
oh,
people are cranky on third. People are so cranky. See, other people have the glow butt, they're just not talking about it like I am. They We got Karens everywhere. People shoot you the bird now. I'm like, what
oh,
were you raised by an animal? I mean, seriously.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, see, I got mortified, Morgan. I froze talking about dental. It was that dramatic just thinking
Well,
about
I
it.
should have gotten a screenshot. Just wait until you go back and rewatch this. You froze like this.
Look at my spider. Do y'all see it? He just dropped down.
No.
This is one of the joys of living at the beach. Because
Oh,
Fern came
yeah.
in through the door about 10 minutes ago. And I promise you, he walked through, he went down the stairs and then he walked through. And then the spider just came floating around to me because it's not like dropping down from the chandelier. It's like, I'd rather that than a roach.
They float in the air like on their little parachutes,
Thank you.
kind of like on Charlotte's Web, where the little babies
Yes.
float off in the air.
Yep.
It looks so cute and sweet, but I don't want those little things coming after me. Sorry.
Yes. Yep. It's not good. So anyway, if you ain't canning, you ain't growing food, start just stocking up on things. I ain't
Yeah.
getting no jam to go into the grocery store, and nothing is gonna. It's gonna be much worse than last time because people are irritated, and hopefully people in some southern states who got some testicular fortitude will rise up and just say hell no.
Yeah.
Okay, but I
Yeah.
mean, and it may be too dangerous to go to the store, but
Yeah.
in the name of God, stock up. Nothing's getting better.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just
I
pissed
agree.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I really think, it's time to get off your keisters, folks. Get off the keisters and get busy. Get
Yep.
busy. Whether you feel like it or not. Now I understand if you have some extreme illnesses and stuff going on, but otherwise you need to do everything you can, even if it's just for 5 minutes, 10 minutes,
Yes.
15 minutes. Do it in little increments if you have to. Sometimes that's what I have to do on my really rough days.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly, Trish. Wives, give your husbands or man card so they can man back up. And oh, Fishes and Low says she needs her testicular fortitude, but she's missing something.
I
Carol,
love
you're
it.
hilarious.
Yeah,
Hey,
and a
girl.
marriage will not thrive. I've been doing time, as I call it, for 40 freaking years. Same man, day in, day out, day in, day out, right? Follow him around the world, country. I mean, I'm hard to shake, evidently. And evidently I can really hang in there. And it does not work when women lead. We watch countless couples. It's like, why are you competing with each other? Vern is great with finances. I bring the fun and the funk, right? He finds the specials. I find something to do with him. I do the food savoring. I do, he gets the gardens ready, the raised bed. We just kind of work quietly in a teamwork at this
Mm.
point, but I'm not a competition. It was sort of like you'd go to your dad and you'd say, I need to get this for my majorette uniform. All right, well, go talk to your mother. I give her my paycheck, right? But I had to go ask my dad. So my
Mm.
mother managed the money. In other words, I tell people that if your husband's the only one working, right, you're not going to go get your nails done and your hair did, maybe, right? And don't be whining that you can't. If you want to get those luxury items and he can't give them to you, get a part-time job or a side hustle or an online job or a work from home job, something like that. But they don't want to say no to you. But somebody has to make the real decisions of, just like sort of when we got a new pressure canner in 2012, tell me when's the best time. Well, I want that. I want a new Nesco hydrator. I need, separating needs. And that's where we're talking writing your goals down. Know the difference between needs and wants. But if you're going to be in a competition with your husband, he can't do it. It's not how they're wired. We're just what Tasha was saying, that her husband wants to provide for her. We are their why, their WHY. They do it for you, your
Yeah.
kids, those kind of things. And they are enough. They are enough. You just can't beat a man down,
Yeah.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
The 5-year-old won't.
Man, you keep freezing in the most hilarious. You're like,
I, I think my DSL comes from Georgia, and there's a hell of a storm in Georgia because whenever power goes out in Georgia, we lose power. But yeah, it's terrible. I'm looking like myself. I'm like, my God, I look like some kind of robot rabbit. It's crazy. Yeah.
all right. Last words. Mouse Toes, you have any last words before we get off of here?
Get off your beep and start doing stuff. Quit talking about what you're gonna do, what you need to do. Make a list, 1 through 20 and number 1 is what you need right now. And start
Ready.
making an effort to get it. Stock your
Yeah.
damn pantry, or you're gonna have to get a jab before you can even go in the grocery store. Think
Yeah.
about it.
Yep. I concur. I concur with what she said. She said, I concur. I concur. Um, yeah. Guys, this isn't meant to, again, this isn't meant to be fear mongering, but y'all really do need to like take it seriously. I get that some of you are working daylight to dark to do this stuff. Also, don't let prepping so much consume you that you're not enjoying today with your family and your loved ones. Don't be living in fear, okay? There has to be balance. But yeah, it's time for those that have been sitting and watching others do it. Time to get it done, guys. All right. Well, thank y'all so much for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you. I love you. Love you, Miss Mouse. You
You too.
are the bomb, girlfriend. The bomb, man. I'll tell you. All right. Thank y'all so much for watching. God bless. And remember, guys, to prep for it. Prep for it all. Bye, guys.